Welcome to the Moose's LZ Bar and Grill Weekend Wrap, where we highlight a few of the storylines that occurred in sprint car racing around the country over the weekend. Before we get to those highlights, don't forget to check out Moose's LZ Bar and Grill for great food at a great price. You won't regret it. Before Spencer Bayston hooked up with CJB Motorsports, I could never understand why he didn't get another look from a high-profile team in the 410 sprint car ranks. All he did was win the USAC midget title, which should have led to something with Toyota. Never did. That's a story for another time. And he also showed speed once he moved over the 410 sprint car ranks. It didn't seem to matter what car he got in. He was able to run quick laps with some of the best in the business and also get to the front, something he also showed a year ago when he jumped into McGee Motorsports entry and beat the World of Outlaws in the Brad Doty Classic, which really turned some heads. No doubt that helped him get the CJB Motorsports ride. But now that Basin is full-time with the Outlaws, he's showing his worth behind the wheel. He's already has a win, which he got last week in the Bristol Bash on Saturday night at Bristol Motor Speedway, and also 5 top 5 finishes and 11 top 10s in 17 starts. More important, he is 6th in the point standings ahead of the likes of Donnie Schatz, despite being a rookie with the series. Basin has already showed he's belonged, and I'm anxious to see how he progresses as the season goes on. This guy could be a weekly player for years to come. One of the big question marks through the early part of the World of Outlaws season has been Logan Schuchart and the struggles of his Shark Racing team. While Jacob Allen has flourished, Shoehart has struggled with qualifying, passing cars in main events, bad luck, which has kept him out of the top 5 and kept him out of victory lane. Of course, that all changed last week when he won Friday night's Bristol Bash at Bristol Motor Speedway. Along with a much-needed for $25,000 first place check, it was Schuchart's 5th straight top 5 finish if you combine it with Saturday's 3rd place run, and it moved him to 5th in the point standings ahead of Spencer Bayston, who we talked about earlier, and Donnie Schatz. I'm not saying that Schuchart is going to rattle off a bunch of wins and contend with Brad Sweet, Carson Macedo, and David Gravel for the series championship throughout 2022, but it seems like he has turned the corner and weathered that early season storm to get back on track. How much still remains to be seen, but they head into Eldora Speedway this week, a track that Logan Shoehart has thrived at in the past, and it looks like it could be another chance for him to secure a victory. I think he'll be running up front, so stay tuned. Heading over to Central Pennsylvania, I want to talk about Devin Borden, who earned his 3rd win in 7410 sprint car starts at Williams Grove Speedway. More important was the way in which Borden ended up in victory lane. He showed car control. He moved around the track when he had to. There was a point where Brent Shearer was going to go around him, Mark Smith was going to go around him, and he moved to the top. He saw that, got to the top, and really went unchallenged the rest of the way. The same could be said the next night when at Lincoln Speedway, Danny Dietrich was obviously the class of the field, but Devin Borden was running second, challenged Danny at one point in turns 3 and 4, but didn't overdrive the car. He showed patience. He wasn't wiggling all over the place, overdriving to the point where he could have ended up back on a wrecker in the pit area. He showed control and showed he is learning in what was a pretty good weekend of a 1st and 2nd place finish. By the way, also finished 4th in the URC race at Williams Grove after going to the rear. I like what Borden's doing. I think he's progressing as a driver in this sport in the Mike Hefner entry. I have a 100 race rule. You know what you pretty much have with a driver after 100 races. It's a good sample size to see if they're learning, if they can progress, despite whatever situation there is. I see this in Borden. He's 70 races in, and I think he's making the progress that is needed for a 20-year-old driver competing in Central Pennsylvania, an area that has a lot of parity and has some heavy hitters with the likes of Lance DeWeese, Danny Dietrich, and a couple others. I like what Borden's doing. I'm anxious to see how he progresses the rest of the season. If he keeps on this trajectory, he's going to be pretty good in this area. That's going to wrap up this edition of the Moose's LZ Bar and Grill Weekend Wrap. Stay tuned to SprintCarUnlimited.com for our exclusive content. It's only $35 a year $30 for 6 months, $18 for 3 months. You get videos, a weekly podcast, results, features, opinion, and much more. We'll be back next week with another edition of the Moose's LZ Bar and Grill Weekend Wrap.